right here. At home. Protect your out. We put the work in. Let's finish. Come on, man. Let's do this. Family up here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
You see, we dream chase, because that's all we was given to start with. Then we realized the dream was obtainable. Now look at us.
What's going on? Welcome back to the Main Thing Podcast Presents. I'm your man, Big Huss, the one you trust, bringing you all your Philadelphia Eagles latest. Now, look, we are officially in Wild Card Weekend, and the Philadelphia Eagles are hosting the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday. Look, this matchup is juicy. The history is recent. The stakes are obvious. But before we get into X's and O's, we got to talk about health, trust, direction, right? Because if you're looking at the Eagles team, honestly, there's a lot of moving parts right now. Some encouraging, some concerning, and some that will define whether this postseason is short-lived or whether we make a deep run. So let's start where every playoff conversation starts, with the injury report. Before we get to that, please make sure that you're liking, commenting, you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss when me and Mr. Owens drop these videos on y'all. Let's start, like I said, injury report. The Eagles released their second and final injury report ahead of Sunday's matchup, right? And there's not a lot to unpack here. Thursday's injury report breakdown kind of goes like this. DMPs, Landon Dickerson, and Brett Toth. Now, Dickerson, it was more so a rest day. If you notice, every week now he's had 1 or 2 rest days. It's just been a long, grueling season. And we want him as healthy as possible. Now, Brett Toth, on the other hand, who has played, I believe, outstanding when asked to step up, is suffering from a concussion. So that's something to monitor. Now, Dickerson missing Thursday is not a surprise. This has, like I said, become a routine. The Eagles have to manage him to help get him through the season. It's just been a lot happening. Now, Toth, while he did not practice, he was seen on the sideline during opening portion of practice, which suggests progress through the concussion protocol. Because if he was in the midst of it, if they felt like he just was not ready, they really wouldn't even have him on the sideline dress. Now, the expectation at this point was that he still missed Sunday, with the eye towards possibly returning during the divisional round. If the Eagles advance, we know them birds are going to advance, right? Now, some limited participants. You had Lane Johnson, foot, which is a great sign. Jalen Carter, hip. Dallas Goedert, knee. Grant Calcaterra, ankle. Johnson, Goddard, and Carter were limited for a second straight day. Johnson looked mobile, which is good during a portion of practice. And it's very encouraging. That's leading us to believe that he will be available for Sunday. And look, we need pave the lane. We talk about making a deep playoff right now, right? Carter and Goddard, limited. More about preservation than panic. The goal this week was simple. Get them to Sunday. It's all about health. Health is wealth at this point of the season. Calcaterra being upgraded from DNP to limited was notable, though expectations remain modest. He served as a number 2 tight end, if active. Had caught a 15-yard touchdown reception last week. So he's been doing this thing. Now, 4 participants on Thursday. Nakobe Dean, hamstring. Love to see this. Marcus Epps, who's dealing with concussion. Love to see that as well. Jalen Phillips and Azeez Ujulari. Good to see him back in the fold. Dean and Epps being a full go was big. Both upgraded from limited. We're trending in the right direction. Phillips, full participant again, expected to start. Ojulari, despite practicing, is more of a wait-and-see situation, but the fact that he's on the injury report is a good sign. Friday's final injury report kind of clarifies things, right? Giving us some game statuses and things of that nature. The Eagles ruled 3 players questionable. That's Lane Johnson, foot. Brett Toth, concussion. Azeez Ujulari, hamstring. Lane Johnson was limited all 3 days. Eagles would have loved to see a full practice at least once, but feels like a game time decision. That still leads towards playing. I believe early in the week, one of the reporters put out that Lane Johnson will be a go for Sunday. So we'll kind of see how that goes. If he can't finish or can't go at all, Fred Johnson will step up again. That's not something you want against the 49ers front, right? Toth was upgraded from limited to limited on Friday, which opens the door for him clearing protocol in time, which would be great. Like I said, when Toth has been inserted, he's actually done a pretty good job, especially in the run game. Now, if he can't go, Eagles lose their top interior backup, right? Pushing Matt Pryor and Drew Kendall up the depth chart. I'm not sure that's something that we really want to see at this point in the season. Now, Ojulari's 21-day practice window was open earlier this week, but there's no indication that the Eagles are rushing him back. They've already added depth there at the edge. It feels like more of a decision once again, moving forward if we advance through the playoffs. Meanwhile, Jalen Carter, Dallas Goedert, Nakobe Dean, Marcus Epps, who has really played well, Jalen Phillips, and Grant Calcaterra were all listed without game time designations, meaning they will play, and we need them back, right? Carter, Goddard being upgraded to full participants on Friday was especially important. Something also worth noting, Eagles can elevate 2 practice squad players by Saturday afternoon. Long snapper Charlie Hewitt will more than likely be one of those elevations, but leaving another slot available if need be. So we'll kind of see whether they upgrade another player or they kind of just leave it as is right now, right? And save that elevation maybe for one of the following weeks. Now, one underrated storyline heading into the game is a relationship between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Over the years, they're saying that Sirianni and Hurts haven't had the best of relationships, more of a working relationships. And when Hurts has been asked to speak on Sirianni in past situations, he's kind of worked his way around it. Now, look, Hurts wasn't always publicly effusive about Sirianni, but since last season weeks 5 by, when the two reportedly spent hours together recalibrating things, the tone has kind of somewhat shifted. On Wednesday, Hurts was openly complimentary of the head coach, which we really haven't seen a lot, saying his day-to-day work ethic, the determination he has, the will to win, and the drive he has is something I admire. He's always shown up and given his best, right? Hurts also then spoke on Sirianni's shared mentality. Every year is different, but it's always the same goal. Treating every year as its own, but also knowing exactly what you're playing for. Championships. Look, our starting quarterback, our head coach are keeping the main thing, the main thing, right? And that's winning. And that's all that matters. As long as they have the same shared goals and are moving in the same direction, what more could you ask for from your head coach and your starting quarterback? With everything else going on offensively, knowing your head coach and franchise quarterback are aligned is one less variable to worry about. And trust me, there are a lot of variables to worry about, right? Now, a question that's been kind of going around, and should Tank Bigsby get more carries? And a short answer, hell yeah, absolutely, right? This Eagles offensive line, once again, a generational strength, has been inconsistent all season due to injuries, a bit of regression, poor play and execution. And that's made Saquon Barkley, after a historic season, look somewhat human and bringing him back down to earth. Now, let's not get it twisted. Barkley is still the guy. Barkley is still a generational talent, right? There's no debate there. But Tank Bigsby has earned some touches. He's looked more explosive right now, and there's no reason he shouldn't be getting anywhere from 6 to 10 touches a game, right? We've seen the formula work before during the Doug Peterson area. We rolled Blount, Ajayi, and Corey Clement all the way to the Super Bowl in 2017, winning that thing, bringing home our first Super Bowl. A little bit of lightning and thunder never hurt anyone, and we kind of have a situation where we could be doing the same thing with Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby. They could be a nice 1-2 punch, really complementing each other. But that's something that the coaching staff, Kevin Petula, they would really have to commit to, right? Saquon, once again, electric. I'll give him a crease, my man's gone. But Tank has been very effective, I believe, averaging 9 yards a carry this season, which is highest in the league. When he's touched the pill, he's made good things happen. And this is a game where I think we should really be leaning on Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby. Now, another story that's came from ESPN. Now, this is detailing what drives the Eagles defense, what drives that Vic Fangio's defense. And what they said is the Meatball Award, right? Players who win the weekly honor get homemade meatballs, but here's the catch. Only winners have tasted them. You got to be a winner. You got to check your box. You got to somewhat go above and beyond to get the meatball dish, right? As Dory Jackson put it, it's about recognition. Fangio notoriously is all about business, right? We can see that in his demeanor. But he's opened up a bit this year, cracking jokes, mimicking celebrations, and emphasizing financial literacy and long-term health. It's still intense. Practices are demanding. Meetings are exhausting. But the respect is real. And the defense is built on accountability that tends to travel well in January. Now, Fangio, if the Meatball Award is working, brother, keep doing it because this defense is balling out of their mind. And you can't say that it's just one player doing it. It's players at each level, defensive front, linebackers, secondary. Everybody is going in and playing to the best of their capability, balls to the wall all the time. And look, it has to be due to the Meatball Award. Right? Fangio's doing something right. When first brought in, everybody thought that there might be a disconnect between Fangio and this Eagles defense, being that Fangio, he's an older guy. Been in the league now, coaching close to 40 years. So they thought with him being older and some of these young guys, early 20s, like I said, we have one of the youngest defenses in the league. So some of these guys, there would be a disconnect between player and coach, but they've made it work. Fangio has built the relations with his players and vice versa, and they're really leaning on each other, holding each other accountable, and living up to the demand. I love what he's done with this unit. I love the players that we have on the defensive side of the ball. You could tell they're all in, and they're playing for their defensive coordinator. Now, Kevin Petula, on the other hand, leaves much to be desired. His future is a bit uncertain. With a big picture question raised by NBC Sports Philadelphia, will a successful postseason save Kevin Petula's job? Look, the offense has struggled all year, fewer than 20 points in 8 of their last 13 games, no consistent rhythm. And while injuries and penalties obviously play a role, the lack of identity, especially to this point in the season, is glaring. Still don't underestimate Jalen Hurts and his influence. Look, QB1 tends to make everybody around him look better, especially when the lights are the brightest, right? Petula is Hurts now, 6 play callers since being in the NFL, I believe. Hurts has been vocal about the toll and constant turnover, and if he believes stability matters, that carries a bit of weight inside the NovaCare complex. If stability is what Jalen Hurts is looking for, maybe Kevin Petula does come back. But if we're just simply going on a performance grade, I believe that Kevin Petula has definitely underdelivered in every account, especially being the talent that we have on this side of the ball, from QB1 to A.J. Brown to Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, Smitty, and offensive line on down, right? This is a loaded offense. So you're telling me to be averaging less than 20 points in 8 of your last 13 games? You're underperforming, especially in some of these games where you're talking about the defense is holding high potent offenses to 13 points or less, 10 points or less, giving the offense more possessions than they deserve, but they've done nothing with it. Kevin Petula's job, I believe, is very much uncertain. I would not be opposed to a change. You have Mike McDaniels, a former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, who will be available. I believe Brian Daboll will be available. There's some options out there. Doug Peterson, right? There's some options out there. I don't know if we should settle on KP just for, I can't even say continuity, just for a little stability at the OC position when the OC really isn't getting it done. So here we are, banged up, flawed, dangerous, but still very much alive. Eagles, 49ers, Sunday afternoon. Me and Mr. Owens, per usual, we're putting out our preview video on Saturday, so please be sure to be on the lookout for that. Hope everyone's having a great week, man. Staying blessed, supporting our birds as usual, supporting the channel. Yeah, I mean, the Main Thing Podcast presents. Y'all know the vibes. But have a great week. Be safe. Enjoy your Friday. Look, at the end of the day, you keep the main thing. The main thing. This flag will fly till we die. Until next time, stay blessed.
I was gonna make a lot of money doing what I wanted to do. I went after it, and it was a struggle to achieve it. But you know what? I caught that bitch. Dream chaser.